Hello, slot car drag racers. This video I'm going to make on the controller and how to get a better reaction time if you have problems like me doing a lot of red lights. And we'll see if we can't help you with that, getting a better RT. Stay tuned.
This is a scene from Bill's last video showing the El Camino red lighting and the S10 cutting a .002 light to wing. This is what this video is all about.
When I was shooting my last video on the Elky and the S10 drag racing, I actually held the controller like this to get a better response while launching the car and get a better RT. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and place our block here. And as you can see, my index fingers out like this and have no problem pulling that trigger. And that light was set to Pro Light 0.4. So it was set like this before, and I was red lighting a lot. This might help you. This is my Difalco Dial It In DD420/DD421 Pro Drag Controller, and I will explain some of the features I use. Yours may be different. Making my Difalco D420 slot car drag car controller react like a trans brake in a real drag car. However, instead of releasing the trans brake button, you'll have a controller like this one where you'll have to depress the mechanism to work. So in my last video, where you see the Elky red light a lot, and we had some real good lights near the end, and the S10 had a .002 reaction time. That was because I was experimenting with things. So the dial-in sensitivity and range switch. The run sensitivity is set with 8 position, rotary switch, and the hard soft slide switch here. There are 8 power settings when the switch is set to soft and 8 fast power settings when the slide switch is set to hard. Select the desired run sensitivity according to your motor type and glue conditions. These are instructions right out of Difalco instructions. Now, I haven't messed with anything. It's exactly as it was when we were racing in our last video. Hint: the faster the motor, the higher minimum sensitivity you will need to run the car. We recommend setting the sensitivity to fast for first runs, then turn knob toward slow and make practice runs to see the effect on cars' ETs. To find the least sensitive needed to run the car, set the car on the track and pull the trigger to the first band and rotate sensitivity knob until car moves. This setting is the least amount of power needed to run the car. Select lower setting will leave first band dead, no power. You can run this motor type anywhere from this minimum setting to fast. Now for me, I don't want to blow the tires off the car. I might set it to slow, but in this case, in our last video, I want to go ahead and do it for you as the viewers. I set the soft range to hard, the switch here, and I put it to the number 2 selectors on this position here, and your minimum is there, and set it back. Now these are the band switches here. You can go for all of them up, but I wanted to give the car some delay, and so the first 5 positions here are off, and then the last 3 are on the band. And again, it's set for a launch to hard. Now if I go to soft, it'll make it really soft on the launch. The wiper band power selector switch. The first power band of this controller is selected using the red 8-position wiper band switch. The distance between the trigger, rest position, and the first band allows you to adjust the time before the car leaves the line. The controller is factory set with all 8 bands activated. If you want to lengthen the time before the power starts to cut a better light, you can shut off the bands as needed. You must shut off the bands in order as labeled on the circuit board. So if you want band number 5 to be the first power band shut off, bands 1, 2, 3, and 4 are labeled on the circuit board. And here again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's not going to come in until the wiper is set, well, when you go to these last 3 here. So you're asking, why are you telling me all this? You know, I race pretty good. You know, I have seen some of the videos online, and some of them are talking about how fast their cars are, but you take a look at the reaction time. And if you take a look, like, for example, I like to use Super Gas, Super Street, and even Super Comp, they're cutting lights into .01s or even 000. I mean, they're cutting some good lights. So that's why I mentioned this operates like a trans brake button. And I will show you, it's going to take a while. Now, all my controls are set real low, and I find myself still red lighting on the Pro Light. My finger is right on the lever to activate the car to go. This is where the reaction time comes from in winning or losing the race. So what I've done is to actually straighten my right index finger out, and when I see the Pro tree all light up, and then to activate the controller. That will take the time from my eyes to see it, my brain to react, to my finger to activate and push down on the control lever about 4/10 in time to give the supposedly reaction time to .000, a perfect light. Now, in our situation, we're always holding the controller, and again, using our index finger to activate the trigger. 1, you're always having movement with the controller. 2, the only steady grip you have is your hand while trying to activate the trigger. Remember Sir Isaac Newton there, folks? His 3 laws of motion, and I always liked the third one. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so let's go for consistency and control. So we need to mount the controller or something sturdy or have something to push against. Again, consistency and control. So I've come up with a silly little mount, and I'll take some pictures on vids to show you. Also some other pictures of a trans brake, how it's mounted, say for example on the steering wheel or even by the shifter. You want it mounted solidly, just like your slot car controller and used for drag racing. You want it held solidly, and to activate it by pushing on your index finger or whatever finger you choose to use. And that might give you some good reaction time, also known as RT. So we have to mount the controller on something sturdy or have something to push against. Again, consistency and control. So I've come up with this silly little mount, and I'll take some pictures or vids to show you. I've got some other pictures of the trans brake, and you don't want to have that thing mounted loosely. You want it solidly mounted on a steering wheel or near the shifter for your fingers to activate the trans brake. Basically, your controller here. Your controller compromises everything that's inside your drag car. This is a picture of my steering wheel in my recent Super Gas Nova, showing the trans brake switch is mounted solidly on the steering wheel. And basically what a trans brake switch does is to activate a solenoid in place of the vacuum mounted module. This solenoid engages a servo piston to hydraulically lock forward and reverse while the shifter is in the low drive position. When released, the reverse is shut off and the car launches. Most Super Street Super Gas launch at 4K. Not to blow the tires off, and Super Comp may be a little lower. This is another picture of my old Super Gas Nova in the late 90s, putting it together. There are so many things going on, and one is the placement where it feels comfortable where the trans brake switch is mounted. Here, it's mounted near the shifter, solidly. So basically, what I'm trying to say, the slot car drag controller for the best reaction times should be mounted solidly. So while we're working with this, I went ahead and put some painter's tape over all the slots, so no sawdust gets inside the controller. Let's go and check our pieces of wood out. One big thing I've had to consider is the angle from here and on the other side. I forgot to mention these are the main blocks to hold the controller. They are 1x2s or actual 3/4 inch by 1.5 inches. The one on the left, the one not marked, will be used to get the controller to 25 degrees, not the one I pick up. The 2 others have been cut to 25 degrees at the ends and will be trimmed at the longer horizontal pencil line by 1/4 inch. Now for me, it was best to have this angle right here, and that's 25 degrees. That's where I came up with that. And let's take one of them like this, and if we get it just right, it'll sit in there, and we'll go ahead and screw this in, make two screws to screw it in like so, and this will be screwed into the back of the track with 2 screws here. So what you want to do is to make this a sturdy support where the controller feels comfortable while pulling the trigger. This block is 5 inches long. It's a 1x2. And what I've done is to draw a line as shown on both ends and was cut as shown. Use only one piece at the head or side of the track and screw it in at the ends. I used anchor bolts 8x32 by 1.5 inches long. So we take our other two blocks and test fit. These two blocks will be centered wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. My measurement at top is 1.350 inches wide and bottom is 0.988 inches wide. The angle is 8 degrees. This is the block mounted to the front of the track. The anchor bolts 8x32 by 1.5 inches long and number 8 wing nuts. The off-center is where the other two blocks will be located to hold the sides of the controller. The manila folder design, the paper on top, is the other end block towards you. These are rough measurements. This block will be able to tighten or loosen the controller. This block will be able to slide using number 440 all thread, 3 inches in length, 440 coupler, and the 440 T-bolts and washer. Almost done. Controller held at right position by a temporary rubber band. The end block must be made angled and contoured to fit the angle of the rear of the controller. When you cut it, make it a little larger, then you can form it. This block will only be 3/4 of an inch high due to the form for the hand on the controller, not 1 1/4 inch. The ends will be angled, cut to hold mounting screws squarely. Okay, we have our controller set up on our little jig here, solidly. Now we're only checking reaction time. We're not going out for all-out racing. Two of our super gas cars are ready. They've already been pre-staged. So let's see what happens. I'm getting ready. Fingers all the way out. Burning rubber. Got a win in the left lane, 09042. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not bad. Another test of the controller. Get Vic's car up there, get it staged. Okay, hands on the controller. Ron's Nova moving up. We got a win in the right lane, 032, 048. Not bad, not bad. Okay, we have the big cars, Elky in the left lane, S10 in the right. Pre-stage is on. Move them up, get them staged. Not too deep. Okay, make it shallow. Oh, S10 moving on up. S10 wins it with 051, 050. Ooh, that was close. I've noticed the Elky likes to get a little deeper into that stage, so let's try to prevent that. All right, move on up there, S10. Get it lightly staged. Okay. Fingers on the trigger, or fingers stretched out. Wind goes to the right lane, 14 and 27. That's 0, 1, 4, and 0, 2, 7. Very good. Testing over. Complete. I like it.